This is a Core 2 video for our practice exam for quadratic functions, equations, and expressions. This is the third video, problems 7 through 11. First of all, a football is kicked off the top of a stadium into the parking lot. Question number 7. The height of the football is modeled by the function h of d equals negative d squared plus 70d plus 50, where d represents the horizontal distance from the stadium to the ball. So I'm going to draw a picture of that really quickly for you. Stadium, kick the football into the parking lot. Football goes up, comes back down, hits the ground. That's what's happening. How far will the ball be when it hits the parking lot? Okay. Pause the video, take a quick minute to see if you can figure out your answer. When you come back, you can check your answer with mine. Okay, since we have chosen our answer, let's look at the problem. I've drawn a picture. I'm going to change that into a graph. Actually, I'll put the graph here. And with my graph now, I have intercepts. Intercepts, the x-intercepts are the x values when y is 0. Okay? So I need to find the x-intercepts because that's actually going to give me the distance. It's asking for how far from the stadium will the ball be when it hits the parking lot. It's asking for this distance. If this is my coordinate system, this is 0. I'm looking for the x-intercept. So I have to try to factor this equation. First of all, I say h of d equals 0 because the height is 0. So negative d squared plus 70d plus 50. I am going to multiply by negative 1 because I don't want a negative here. If I try to factor d squared plus, d squared minus 70d minus 50. If I try to factor that though, there's no way I can multiply to get 50 and add to get 70. 10 times 5 would give me 50, but that adds up to 15. 50 times 1, I add that up, I get 50. Just no way to get 70. So I have to complete the square. And I am going to start that here. I may have to finish it somewhere else because I don't have a lot of room here. So anyway, I add 50 to both sides. So if I want to complete the square, I want to have a fresh start. So 50 equals d squared minus 70d. I don't want that d to look like an exponent. And I go off somewhere else, and I take my negative 70. Divided by 2, I get negative 35. I know when I complete the square, I'm going to have x minus 35. But in order to get that, I have to add 35 squared, actually negative 35 squared. So I'm going to do negative 35 squared equals, I need a calculator. Negative, and I square that answer, I get 1225. In order to factor this into a perfect square, I have to have 1225. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to recopy that because I'm running out of room. 50 equals d squared minus 70d. And I add 1225, 1225 I get 12,075 equals d squared minus 70d plus 1225. And I know if I factor that, I'll get d minus 35 squared equals 1275. Okay. The process I went through up here, dividing by 2, squaring that answer, that guarantees that this will factor into this. That was the whole point of completing the square. Okay. Now I take the square root of both sides, and I am left with d minus 35 equals 1225 plus 50 equals 1275. I take the square root of that. I get 35.7. 35.7. I could also say or d minus 35 equals negative 35.7. But that's going to give me this intercept over here. And while that's mathematically valid, in the context of our story, it's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the positive one. So I say d equals 35.7. I add 35 to both sides. And I get d equals 70.7. And that is my answer. So, choose D. Question 8. Question 8 says, solve the quadratic equation by completing the square. That's basically what we've done. We have one more thing we need to do here. Completing the square is easier if you have x squared. So, see what you want to do there. And pause the video for a moment, work through the problem, come back and you can see, check your answer with what I get. Okay, now that you have restarted the video, first of all, I want x squared. That really makes life easier. I have to divide both sides by 32. I can't just divide one thing by 32. I have to divide both sides by 32. I have to divide this side by 32. I have to divide this side by 32. If I'm going to do that, I have to divide each term by 32. 0 divided by 32, that's fairly simple. 0 divided by anything is 0. 32 divided by 32 is 1. So I just have x squared, which is what I was looking for. On my calculator, I'm going to do 10 divided by 32. I get 0.3125. So minus 0.3125 minus 16 divided by 32 is 0.5. To complete the square, I'm sorry, I forgot my x in the x term. 10 divided by 32, 0.3152. 10x divided by 32 is 0.3125x minus 0.5. I'm going to complete the square, so I have to add 0.5 to both sides. I'm trying to build a perfect square. That 0.5 is just going to be in the way. And I'm going to move up here. So 0.5, 0 plus 0.5 equals 0.5, x squared minus 0.3125x. And somewhere out of the way, I'm going to say 0.3125 divided by 2 equals 15625. Then I'm going to take 0.15625. I'm going to square it. If I want a perfect square, I have to have that number squared. On my calculator, I still have that number. I can just put squared, and I get 0.0244. In order to have a square binomial, on the right side, I need to have that number, so I'm going to add it. And I get 0.5244 equals x, right, quantity x plus, minus, and I kind of cheated a little bit. I should have taken the negative and divided it. Got negative 0.15625. When I square it, though, I still get the positive 0.0244. So x minus 0.15625 squared. Now, take the square root of both sides. The whole point was to build a perfect square, so I can take the square root of both sides. That's why we call it completing the square. If I go back to the calculator, I add 0.5 to this, and I take the square root of that, 0.5244, so 0.724 equals x minus 0.15625. And I need to clear some space here. I'm already lapping over to the next problem, so I'm just going to erase. Now that I'm done with that, I can erase this. And I have room to work, so I can say add 0.15625 to both sides. And I get x equals plus 0.15625, 0.88. And that is one of my answers. But as we know with quadratic equations, we can have two possible answers. Don't always, but usually we have two possible answers. I'm also going to say that, first of all, I'll say 4, negative 0.724 equals x minus 0.15625. I add 0.15625 both sides. I go back to my calculator. I'm going to have to start over. Negative 0.724. I make it negative. Now I add 0.15625. Make it negative 0.56. And I'll call it negative 0.57 equals x. Okay, I have two possibilities. Question number 9. Okay, we've taken 15 minutes already. I'm going to stop this video and I'll do another one for 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so um, look at that video, please.